Remember the Alamo by Cynthia McCarthy. Chapter 8, A Meeting with Santa Anna. The battle for the Alamo had lasted less than 2 hours. Our men had fought from the plaza to the long barracks. They went in one room and out the other. When they ran out of ammunition, they'd fought with sticks and knives. They even fought with their fists. When he could no longer fire his rifle, Davy Crockett swung it like a club. One of Santa Anna's officers found us. He said Santa Anna would not hurt us. He ordered us to march through the plaza. We saw bodies lying everywhere. All 188 of our men had been killed. Buck Travis had died while firing a cannon. Jim Bowie had been shot as he lay in his cot. He had been too weak to stand. My pa had died while on the wall. Davy Crockett's coonskin cap lay beside his lifeless body. Susanna asked if we could bury our loved ones. The Mexican officer told us that Santa Anna didn't want the men to be buried. He said, "The general ordered that all these bodies be burned." When I heard this, a big lump formed in my throat. I was so angry. I could not speak. I couldn't even cry anymore. Not to allow a fallen soldier to be buried was a great insult. Santa Anna ordered that all the survivors of the battle be brought to him. I stood in front of him and I held my head high. Susanna did too. General Santa Anna was a small man. His uniform had much gold decoration. It seemed to glisten. A great glittering sword dangled at his side. He paced back and forth. He waved his hands, and he shouted. Santa Anna spoke to Susanna. He wanted her to take a message to Sam Houston. "Tell General Houston that he cannot win this war," Santa Anna said. "Tell him what happened at the Alamo. Also tell him it will happen to anyone foolish enough to fight me." Susanna and I were given horses to ride, and we started out for the city of Gonzales. That's where General Houston was. Susanna held Angelina on her lap. We hadn't gone very far when it started to rain. We were soon soaked to the skin, and our clothes were caked with mud. 2 of Sam Houston's scouts found us on the road. They took us to the general. Sam Houston was a big man. He had a booming voice. He had done many interesting things in his life. Besides being governor of Tennessee, he'd been a scout, a soldier, and a United States congressman. Mr. Houston had even lived for a while with an American Indian tribe. He wore buckskin. He had a feather in his broad-brimmed hat. We told him what had happened at the Alamo, and he became very angry. He said he was determined to beat Santa Anna. General Houston said the leaders of Texas had met at a town called Washington on the Brazos. They had declared Texas an independent country, and it was to be called the Republic of Texas. The Alamo had fallen 46 days ago. Now Sam Houston's army had found Santa Anna's army. General Houston had 800 men. Santa Anna had 1,500 men. The Mexican soldiers were resting on the top of a hill, and Santa Anna was taking a nap under a tree. Mr. Houston and his soldiers charged up the hill. The Texans shouted, "Remember the Alamo!" Mr. Houston's men fought fiercely. The battle lasted only 18 minutes. When it was over, Santa Anna had completely been defeated. He had to promise to take his army out of Texas and never come back. The battle was fought near the San Jacinto River. It was called the Battle of San Jacinto. At that battle, the free nation of Texas was really born. The Republic of Texas elected Sam Houston as its first president. Texas remained an independent country until 1845, and then it voted to join the United States of America. I lived with Susanna and Angelina until I got married. Susanna married again too. But no matter where our lives took us, Susanna and I never forgot what happened on March 6, 1836. We never forgot all the brave men who died on that day. But we weren't the only ones who remembered. Wherever and whenever people fight for freedom and liberty, they call out, "Remember the Alamo!"